Hi, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 o'clock because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. All right, take one. SCOTUS makes a shrinky-dink. Monday, the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, showing remarkable compliance with the intentions of the Orange Roughie, temporarily paused an order by a federal judge in Massachusetts, of all places, that would have required Trump to reinstate 1,400 Department of Ed employees. In a brief, unsigned ruling, the justices, showing full commitment, blocked the order of Judge Mayong Jun, who was concerned that Trump might be trying to dismantle the Department of Ed. So this is why I love this guy, Matt, in West Virginia. Everyone knows the deal with Matt. Not so the nuance like SCOTUS and Mayong. So, all right, this is a good thing, but it's not the full-throated commitment we'd be looking for. But you know what? You take what you can get. Take two. Housing, auguring in. 1/3 of the largest 100 housing markets in the U.S. are in price decline, according to the mortgage industry. Inventory has been rising steadily for the past year and was up 29% in June. Prices are still moving up without buyers in the Northeast and the Midwest. High prices, high Jerome rates, rising supply, and falling demand all equate to market contraction and bad juju throughout the economy. The 30-year fixed Jerome is in the high 6 percentage points. Prices are down 9% in the South and the West. Esta es no bueno. All right, take three. Kevin Walsh. Remember that name, Kevin Walsh. Regime change at the Fed. So Jerome is spending $4 billion on renovations and has the U.S. at the highest interest rate of any country, is preventing the economy from blasting off and tanking the housing market with mortgage rates that should be much lower to help promote sales with the downturn in home prices. This guy is just 100% clueless and needs to be out. Trump can fire Jerome for all of this lefty malfeasance, and I believe he will. Former Fed Governor Kevin Walsh says regime change is needed, not just replacing Jerome. He's saying that whole board is all in on this. They are in on the high interest rates. They're in on $4 billion in renovations. I mean, you talk about tone deaf, talk about out of touch. He's at 100% right. This is a total regime change that has to happen. And the whole board has followed Jerome and needs to go. And Trump wants to put Walsh in as Fed governor and then move him into Jerome's suite once he's bounced. Okay? Trump likes Walsh. Walsh says the Fed is missing a massive win for the country. And that is exactly the whole thing in a nutshell. Okay? We have a chance to really launch and do something fantastic for Main Street. And these clowns are all preoccupied with Wall Street. Okay? That has to flip. All right. Take 4. 50 days to a new Vlad. So when Trump says we're very, very unhappy with Russia, Vlad had better put his helmet on. Trump is telling NATO to show the world how much they love Ukraine. And Trump will sell them our best Patriot missile defenses, and they can neuter Vlad as long as their money holds out. This is pure Trump, right? He learns. He learns on the fly. He learned from Netanyahu and the way that he played Trump. And so now Trump is changing it up on NATO. So this is all good. In 50 days, if Vlad will not speak peace, then the hammer comes down. Massive economic sanctions, 100% tariffs, and implied offensive weapons for sale. So this puts NATO where they need to be. They've been mouthing off for 4 years now about, oh, we're all wearing our Ukraine pins, and pay up. If it's important, pay up. Don't just watch us do it. And it's no good for us to do it because our politicians somehow get half the money in offshore accounts. So that's not going to work either. This is a great plan. So the Patriot missile defense system will allow Trump to cast Vlad as the aggressor and NATO as the rescuer. It's a great strategy unless Vlad asks China for the same counter strategy. Then you end up in Tazewell County with a bad plan. So let's see what happens. Hopefully, Vladimir will come to his senses and not continue this. But Trump has a good strategy, and let's see what he learned from Iran. All right, now, Epstein. I cannot tell you how much volume of angry texts and emails that I'm getting regarding Trump being a turncoat on Epstein. So there are like 3 positions in the folks that I'm exposed to. The first one is the Christians. And the Christians are pissed because they believe that God saved Trump in that field in Pennsylvania. And Trump has said as much. And God says, the Christians know this, that whoever harms the least of one of these, it would be better for them to have a millstone put around their neck and that they be thrown into the deep. Okay? So God has a heart for these innocent children. And that's who these are in this Epstein saga. And Christians believe God may remove his hand from Trump if Trump plays deal maker and ignores the plight of these innocent victims. In other words, they believe that Trump is God's tool for everything that's gone on leading up to this election, that this election is a reprieve, and Trump may not get it from here. So that's position 1. Then there's another group. That's MAGA, okay? MAGA is very angry because Trump said he would expose all of the Epstein info, and MAGA worked hard for that payday. Now, Trump seems to be saying, forget about it. Who cares about this Epstein guy, right? He never dies. That's what he says. Nobody's forgetting. Okay? So don't even dream about that. Nobody's forgetting about this. And third, there's traditional Republicans. And they're disappointed in Bondi, but on balance, there are so many wins, they are content to believe that Trump is wheeling and dealing with the Epstein treasure trove. Okay? And honestly, that position is backed up by the fact that no president in the history of our country has had the number of wins that Trump has had in the first 6 months of being in office. It's just staggering, and it's easy to forget. So sometimes, like we say, here's a good investment of your time. Just spend your time in prayer, just thanking God for all the ways that he didn't squash you like a bug and all the wonderful things that are a part of your life. And that's the same thing with Trump. You can get all focused on the fact that he screwed you on Epstein, but there are so many fantastic things going on that maybe you need to take it all with a grain of salt. So I'm going to tell you where I am on all this. I don't believe for a second that Epstein committed suicide. And I don't believe for a second that Epstein was murdered. I believe he's alive. Point two, 1,100 underage girls systematically raped to create leverage with powerful nerds is a tragedy that demands redress. But it is not priority one, because Epstein and his network were CIA, Mossad, and more since 1983. And using children to compromise people in power is an ugly part of how the world operates. But it is not the worst or the darkest or the most powerful of political throne rooms. The truth is that Epstein was an expert at money laundering. Our government runs the global drug trade. Let that sink in. Our government runs the global drug trade. It is a constant and gigantic source of money for wealth, for weapons, and for regime change around the world. Epstein moved drug money and weapons money in ways that ensured no blowback. The CIA and myriad others, this dark and powerful labyrinth, is why Epstein was and is untouchable. Epstein was a CIA asset, like Osama was a CIA asset. Our wars in Afghanistan for 20 plus years are about keeping heroin flowing. The Biden departure debacle from Afghanistan was all about the heroin trade, and all of the billions given to the Taliban who want to get out of the heroin trade. We want them in it, and we want it flowing. That's the real deal that's going on. 1,100 girls are inconsequential when positioned next to this blast furnace of evil. Too big to fail, too massive to stop. Trump is God's tool, but one tool may not cut it. If you want these girls avenged, ask God long and hard and repeatedly to reveal it all. May not be humanly possible. All right. Take 6. Almost Heaven, West Virginia. A West Virginia couple decided not to be the victims of their circumstances. Matt McDonald and Shannon Bryan were having a typical Monday yesterday. You know, it's Monday. You have to look at the cards you're dealt and say, this may be where my week begins, but I don't have to let it end here. So Shannon and Matt decided to expand their possibilities. Their first idea was to steal an RV. This gave them their options, a flair of adventure. They then purchased booze and crack. They began to leave the same old Monday doldrums behind. Next, they got on the interstate, and the excitement of so many options added a party atmosphere in the RV. They decided to get naked while driving on the interstate. Honestly, why appeal to convention? They are now barreling down the freeway in a stolen RV, high on crack, with pipes blazing and booze to cool their parched throats. How do we top this? New idea. Fornication. The best. Shannon straddled Matt, who was fortunately facing forward in the driver's seat. She was not. This went on for a while, moving in and out of traffic. Opportunities. When a policeman going the other way saw them moving side to side and up and down with the driver's window down. To their credit, when the cop pulled a U-turn and gave chase, they reasonably pulled over to complete their travel plans. Matt told Shannon, who was wildly high and inebriated, to switch seats. She assumed the operator's position, and he moved to the passenger seat, both naked. The cop walked up to the window, looked at both of them, and said, "What are you guys doing?" And Matt said, "Effing." Pretty much covered it. The cop said, "This RV is stolen. Did you know that?" Shannon was silent and squirming, naked in the driver's seat. Matt said, "Yep." I like Matt. No screwing around, just the facts. The cop said, "You guys might be high and drunk. You'll have to step outside." And at this point, backup had arrived. So now Matt, Shannon are standing with the other cop, who is not naked, on the shoulder of the interstate. Crack pipes, foil, lighters, good times, off to jail, and orange bespoke attire. In my book, they get an A for effort. And I learned what the term Winnebago means. The driver who sits both ways. Yep. Oh, and this all happened in Tazewell County, West Virginia. So from now on Tuesdays at 647, Tuesdays are Tazewell Tuesdays in honor of approaching life with a sense of whimsy. All right, you approach us with comments, with likes, with sharing us with your friends. You can't do that enough. And you know what? On Tazewell Tuesday, you have a fantastic day at work, and God bless you. All right, that's enough of that.